Hello, one and all, welcome to the Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, we will compare two workhorses down in Ukraine, the American M113 and the Swedish PBV 302. And the M113 has, of course, been in use in the Ukrainian army for several years. They have received, I don't know, is it well over 1,000 of them in various aid packages. And the PBV 302 is a recent addition, only seen in service this year, a couple of months back. And Ukraine has received somewhere between 200 and 300 of them from Sweden. So we're going to take a look what they bring to the table. So here we have the M113 on the left and the PBV on the right. The M113 is of American origin, of course, and the PBV of Swedish. The M113 was first introduced in 1960, so as you can imagine, it has proven itself in a multitude of hotspots around the world. Definitely in all the American wars, Vietnam, Iraq, and what have you, and multitude of other conflicts around the world. It's been produced in several thousands and been sold all over the world. And the PBV, introduced in 1962, was actually not based on but a clone of the M113. Sweden tested the M113 but wanted their own vehicle with some increased features, enhanced features, so they built their own APC, the PBV 302, and it came into service in 1962. The M113 has a maximum speed of 68 kilometers per hour, the PBV 66 kilometers per hour, so quite similar. The M113 weighs 12 tons and the PBV comes in at 14 tons. And height with gun is 2.5 meters on both. So as you can imagine, ignore the gun, they are roughly at 6 feet, somewhere maybe around 180, maybe 2 meters. So they can roughly find the same types of cover to hide behind when they need to. Transportation, the M113 can carry up to 15 troops and has a crew of 2. The PBV has a crew of 3 and can carry 8 troops. And but when it truly shines, the M113 is its operational range 480 kilometers. The PBV can only manage 300 kilometers. So quite clearly you get more mileage out of an M113. Both are amphibious and can traverse water after some modifications. So what you have is a faster, lighter M113 that can carry more troops, carry more cargo, and you can get much, much further with it than compared to the PBV 302. Now, that said, the PBV 302 was, like we said, built and designed to outperform the M113 in certain areas. One of those areas was off-road capability. The PBV was built to have better tactical maneuvering than the M113. And the end result was, with the PBV 302, a vehicle that could traverse mud and snow and difficult terrain in the forests and what have you to a much higher degree than compared to the M113, because in the north of Sweden, in the Arctic, during winter you would have deep snow, and during summer you would have bogs and marshes. So Sweden needed a troop transport that could reliably operate in all those environments without switching vehicles. And the criteria was met. Sweden managed to produce a vehicle, a troop transport, that was more reliable off-road than the M113. So here you can see two major differences between these vehicles. The M113 outshines the PPV when it comes to operational maneuvers, moving large numbers of troops quickly behind the front line. But the PPV, it truly shines when it comes to maneuvering in the line of contact. And the other two criteria for the PPV when it was designed was to have better armor and better armament than the M113. So the PPV was designed using a steel hull, unlike the M113 that uses aluminium or aluminum, depending on where you're from, and had built-in spall liners right from the get-go and what have you. That offered better protection versus artillery and even against the Carl Gustav 84mm anti-tank heat rounds. The PPV offered acceptable protection against a incoming Carl Gustav round. So the PPV has better protection than the M113 in the original design. The upgraded armored PPV that was deployed to UN missions even survived hits from RPGs, and 3 separate vehicles survived hits from anti-tank guided missiles without any Swedish soldiers being killed from those hits. So the PPV is a very sturdy vehicle. The M113 is of course very reliable, but it doesn't have the same type of protection as the PPV. Moving on to the armament, the M113 usually comes with a 50 cal heavy machine gun. The PPV comes with a 20mm autocannon, so packs a lot more firepower, can actually punch through the armor of BMPs and Bradleys even. If you get a flanking shot with the 20mm on a Bradley or a CV90 or whatever. So quite a lot more firepower in the PPV. That said, it uses 30-round magazines, unlike a belt-fed 50 cal. So you kind of have to reload more often than compared to a machine gun. So that could obviously be an issue if you're in a prolonged firefight. But overall, I think you can say that the PPV with the autocannon is much more effective in engaging vehicles, since it can actually reliably punch through the armor of BMPs and APCs. Meanwhile, the 50 cal on the M113 is excellent for dealing with infantry in trenches or to suppress them, or dealing with infantry trying to hide in buildings, where the 50 cal can easily cut down the walls, what have you, of most buildings that you will come across. So the M113 excellent against infantry. The PPV has an edge when it comes to engaging enemy vehicles. So why are there such significant differences between the M113 and the PPV 302? Well, it is because the PPV 302 was supposed to be an infantry fighting vehicle when it was introduced. And that is why Sweden gave it better armor. That is why it had a better gun. That is why they put focus on off-road capability. It was supposed to drive straight up to enemy positions, just like we see vehicles doing in this war in Ukraine, where you have troop transports driving straight up to trench lines, straight up to buildings where the enemy is located, and dismounting troops to charge into close combat. And like we see both Ukraine and Russia do in this war, Swedish doctrine also had tanks right next to the troop transports, as you can see here, providing support, firing at point-blank range into those enemy locations while troops dismounted and stormed into close combat. So this is what the PPV 302 was designed to do in the 60s, to wage the type of war we're seeing right now in Ukraine. And as it happens, the modern CV90, and this is what we see here, is a CV90-40 Charlie. This vehicle this exact vehicle is more than likely operating in Ukraine as we speak. The CV90 was actually built to operate within the same doctrine as the PBV-302. It was just a more modern approach to this vehicle. But as you can see, the idea is the same: a big autocannon in a turret, hatches that allowed troops to fight from the vehicle, and not a ramp, a door at the rear that allowed for quick dismounts. You could just kick the door open, and within a second, troops starts piling out and begins the assault very effectively. Having troops in the hatches was a very effective tactic prior to 2022. Now, with drones being a thing, hatches like these are probably not as effective anymore. I doubt Ukraine is using them. But this, of course, allows troops to protect the flanks of a vehicle. They can fight from the vehicle and be highly mobile while being protected. So while some troops storm in the trenches, other units can move around to respond to incoming threats as they appear. Same things apply to the CV90. The CV90 was built and designed to operate and conduct the same type of warfare as the PBV-32 was intended to do. And modern Swedish doctrine is essentially what we saw in the 60s and 70s and 80s with the tanks and the PBVs, only now instead you had Leopard 2s. Today you have Leopard 2s, the STRV-122, also in service down in Ukraine, right next to the CV90. And in fact, we have seen Ukraine on a number of occasions do Swedish doctrine right from the textbook, where you have we saw it especially in Kursk, when you had the STRV-122 providing fire support as a CV90 charges across the field to dismount troops right next to the enemy position. So we have seen Ukraine utilize Swedish tactics involving the STRV-122 with the CV90 to engage enemy point blank, essentially as the troops dismount into combat. So tactically, as you can see, there are quite a few differences between these two vehicles. APCs, light-skinned APCs like the M113, you usually say that you dismount troops 400 meters from the point of contact, and then you walk in, and the vehicle might follow you to support, or may do additional runs to a supply line or supply point while the troops move on to engage the enemy. Of course, down in Ukraine, we do see the Ukrainians using M113s driving straight up to the enemy, just like with CV90s and Bradleys, because they have no other choice. So the M113 is a rugged, reliable vehicle, but usually you say that you want to dismount a couple of 100 meters away from the point of contact and then have troops walking in. The PBV-302, as you can see, was designed to operate within 50 meters of the enemy. So quite a difference considering how these vehicles were designed and meant to operate. So if you take a look at this map here, this area is within the circle. Within the circle is essentially where the PBV outperforms the M113, but zooming out, taking a step back, larger area of operations is where the M113 outshines the PBV with its longer range, being faster and lighter and what have you. Meanwhile, the PBV, closer to the enemy you get, it has better off-road capability, more firepower, and so on, better protection. In the circle, the PBV outshines the M113, but on the larger operational scale, the M113 well and truly outperforms the PBV. Let's see here, I've made a video where we take a look at how Ukraine utilizes the APC as an assault vehicle, and where I show a couple of videos where they utilize the M113 very aggressively, driving straight up to the enemy sorry, to deploy troops within 50 meters of enemy locations. Also, when it comes to comparing vehicles, like in this video, I've made a video where we compared the Bradley and the CV90. I'll provide links to these videos down below if you want to take a look at that. But yeah, this is essentially differences between the two vehicles. When it comes to the front line, the M113 wants to move a bit away from the enemy, where it outshines the PBV as a transport. The PBV a bit more aggressive. It wants to be up close, where its armor and gun can be put to good use. Meanwhile, it's not as fast and or to move when it comes to moving along roads over distances to provide supplies and what have you, and rotating troops in and out of the area. Now, if you think I'm putting too much focus on the PBV, not so, because the M113 has a major advantage over the PBV 302, and that is it is a versatile vehicle. Here you have the M113 from the 60s in Vietnam, minigun, 50 cal, a gun truck essentially, very deadly when you put a minigun on it. Here you have an autocannon turret down here, a minigun together with some radar so you can hunt down enemy helicopters. Here you have a Norwegian M113 with a 20mm autocannon, basically combining the PBV with the M113 to conduct armored assaults. Very much according to Swedish doctrine, but with a Norwegian twist to it. And a version that well and truly has come to good use in Ukraine is the mortar version, a M113 serving as a mortar carrier, providing mobile fire support for the frontline troops. A very effective weapon system, this M113. Now, there are a couple of different versions of the PBV 302, ambulance, command, forward observer, and so on, but it's not as versatile as an M113. That this is really a jack of all trades that can do anything you need it to do, essentially. There is some perks to the PBV, though. It is built and designed to be used by conscripts, so it's easy to use, easy to learn, and easy to repair, and you can fix things on the fly since, you know, it's meant to be used by conscripts. Sorry. So the PBV has that thing going for it, but overall the M113 is a much more versatile vehicle that you can use for any number of roles on the battlefield. So where does all of this leave us? Well, the M113, it's a smaller vehicle, shorter, narrower, and which makes it a smaller target, which is always a good thing. The 50 cal is a very powerful machine gun. It's very versatile and works very well when you're driving up to a trench line and want to put a lot of suppression on the enemy to allow your dismounts to reach the trenches to breach. It's lighter and faster, and it has a much better range in terms of operational maneuvers, and it can transport more troops, more equipment, and it is a vehicle built for operational maneuvers and transport and support. And it is a very versatile platform, and of course it has been proven in multiple conflicts around the globe. It's reliable, it's sturdy, and it works, and it's a very good support vehicle. The PBV has better protection, it has a powerful gun. I'm no fan of the 30 round capacity. It's a 20mm, it should be able to be belt fed. There was some issues with the belt feeding system, that's why they later on moved to magazines, but I think they should have been able to solve that problem. So a 20mm that is not belt fed or chain fed, I'm not a fan. But it has doors and hatches that allows for faster dismounts when it comes to dismounting into the assault. That is a positive thing. Roof hatches pre-2022 made the PBV a very aggressive APC that was essentially a mobile bunker or pillbox. But now with drones, I don't think roof hatches are as important. It was designed for conscripts, simple to use, easy to repair, and better off-road. So, I mean, it's built for tactical maneuvers, it's built for combat, it's built for assaults. I think it needs a new main armament, maybe a, Russian style heavy machine gun, 14.5 millimeter. I think that would suit it very well. Not as many options in versions of it compared to an M113. But overall, it's built for tactical maneuvers. The M113 is built for operational maneuvers. So yeah, that's all I have for you, I think. Let me know down in the comments which vehicle you think is better suited for Ukraine than the other, or if you have any other thoughts concerning these two vehicles.
Yeah. Still storm rains among the drones, venomous glare. Boots sink deep in the mud, despair thick in the air. Rat-tat-tat, AK bucks, they never relent. Each second lasts a lifetime. In the chaos we descend. Barbed wire cuts the land with rust and decay. Every heartbeat a beat closer to your last day. Grenades kiss the earth, dirt flies, ash replace the sky. Heroes crouch low, tears drip, still they ready to die. Heroes knees buckle, but they hold the line. Fear burns in their eyes, but in hell they intend to dine. Thunder cracks aloud, men covered by bloody stain. Mud hugs their clothes, kissed by the glory of Ukraine. Murder rain mixed with pain, screams echo across the land. Souls tethered, the rifles gripping fear with both hands. Enemies flood like a never-ending tide. A ballad of the brave where heroes won't hide. Huddling shadows, a friend falls, no soft goodbye. Crimson rivers carve past, dreams crushed neath the sky. Prince of luxury, frost lips a silent hymn. Where survival clings and the light grows dim. Heroes knees buckle, but they hold the line. Fear burns in their eyes, but in hell they intend to dine. Thunder cracks aloud, men covered by bloody stain. Mud hugs their clothes, kissed by the glory of Ukraine. Cuts the land with rust and decay. Every heartbeat a beat closer to your last day. Grenades kiss the earth, dirt flies, ash replace the sky. Heroes crouch low, tears drip, still they ready to die. Heroes knees buckle, but they hold the line. Fear burns in their eyes, but in hell they intend to dine. Thunder cracks aloud, men covered by bloody stain. Mud hugs their clothes, kissed by the glory of Ukraine. Crackling through shrapnel, a voice calls out, afraid and lost. From foxholes to freedom, the struggle is worth the cost. A mother's prayer lost in artillery's roar. Heroes crumble, tears flood their core. Heroes knees buckle, but they hold the line. Fear burns in their eyes, but in hell they intend to dine. Thunder cracks aloud, men covered by bloody stain. Mud hugs their clothes, kissed by the glory of Ukraine. Rain drowns the cries of 1,000 worn souls. Each drop's a whisper, the earth swallows the tolls. Ash on uniforms, patches soaked in grief. Soldiers' hearts stitched with threads of belief. Shells burst, earthquakes, the devil's serenade. Enemies come crashing like an endless cascade. Smog through the mire, hearts pumping propane. Rain and sorrow mix, warriors' pain. Heroes knees buckle, but they hold the line. Fear burns in their eyes, but in hell they intend to dine. Thunder cracks aloud, men covered by bloody stain. Mud hugs their clothes, kissed by the glory of Ukraine.